He's a race winner. He's a lot younger than me. Dare I say, he's a lot more handsome than me as well. So, put your hands together. I'll do it, Jake.
Cheers, Mark.
Jake Hill. Glad you
How
could.
are you, mate? You all right?
I'm very well, and how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. All good.
I've got to ask you. I mean, I've gone for the COVID haircut and the grey beard, the growth. Trying to keep on trend. But what's going on, mate? What's happened with yours?
So it was getting pretty long. I should have gone to the hairdressers the week before lockdown, and obviously that didn't happen. So it got to a point where we had to do something about it, really. So Hannah gave it a go, and actually she did quite a good job first time round. And then I decided I wanted the sides to be blended a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it went terribly wrong. And then I tried to fix it and made it worse.
Right. And do you want to turn to the side?
Do I have to?
Yeah, I think so, just for evidence. Yeah, okay.
Can you just...
Yeah. All right. And you got a really straight edge there. If I were you, buddy, I think I'd go for the COVID look and get done with that, because it kind of looks like you got something dead on your head, mate.
Yeah. Or a wig, I guess. Whatever. Yeah. Oh, well. It's I don't know whether just to leave it and just wait until the barber's open again.
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah, I think I'd get rid of it straight away. But anyway, moving on swiftly.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to? Obviously, we've all been locked down. No motorsport. Last time I ran a race car was Media Day, which went extremely well. So, you know, fantastic. What's new?
Well, obviously, we're living in the outbreak world of COVID-19, and we're all, you know, sat at home, aren't we, really? Well, hopefully we're all sat at home anyway, but me and you are, which is a good thing. So, yeah, it's tough, isn't it? You know, I mean, it's hard. We're not doing anything that we want to do. We're just, you know, keeping everybody safe by staying at home, really. And, you know, I'm just trying to keep myself active around the house and, you know, doing all sorts of stuff. The house is very clean and tidy, so there's not much more to do here.
I think if you're like me, you've been clearing out stuff, and
yeah,
I tried to rent a skip actually, and I can't get one for 10 days.
Oh no!
So house clearances must be at an all-time high.
What are you going to do with that IndyCar at the back? The scrap one, is that just going to go straight in there?
The monocoque, the remaining. Yeah. No, I'm keeping that. That's good for planting flowers and a few bulbs. So don't worry about that. You're not getting your hands on that, Jake. Don't worry. Now listen, Instagram Live, all about having a bit of interaction.
Yeah.
We've got a few people that have joined us, which is fantastic. A few questions. We've had a few people who have already put some questions in. James Hammett has asked us, both actually, worst race car I've ever driven. So I'll answer very easily and very quickly. Worst race car ever for me, and I'm probably going to get slammed when I say it, was a McLaren Formula One car in 1995. And I think if you ask most of the people who worked at McLaren in 1995, they would probably agree with me that that was not one of their best racing cars. So over to you.
Worst racing car. Well, it's hard, really. There's a few that spring to mind. I don't know how much trouble I'm going to get in for, but yeah, there was a couple. One of them was recently a touring car, probably 2018. It was probably the worst touring car I'd ever driven. So yeah, not there with the worst. It was my most hateful season. So I guess that must mean it was the worst car I'd ever driven. So we'll go with that.
All right, we've just been asked worst teammate and best teammate. Worst? So be careful. Be careful how you answer this.
Yeah, of course. Well, no, there's no two ways about it. Best teammate is you, regardless of anyone else I've had.
That is so sweet. I really wish I didn't take the mickey out your haircut now.
I know. No, for lots of reasons, Mark. You know, it's not just because we're on Instagram Live together. You know, you're the first big name I've had next to me in the garage in my racing career. And, you know, I learned a lot from you and you learned a lot from me. And we got on well as a team. So, listen, you know, it was a great pairing, I thought.
I learned how to get my backside kicked by a whippersnapper, and you did an extremely good job. And I did learn a lot. I have to be really honest. I learned a huge amount in looking at what you did with a front-wheel drive car.
Yeah.
All season long, as you well know, I couldn't get my head around it. I've reflected on that quite a lot. I've had quite a lot of time to reflect on it. And I just believe, actually, that probably my style of driving a car is not suited to a front-wheel drive car. And, you know, that's my excuse. I'm going to stick to it. I think it's about excuse 401 in the book. There's many books up on the shelf with tons of excuses. So, but apart from that, listen, we had a great time last year and it was enjoyable. And I'm really hoping that this year is going to be even better when we get this year up and running. But that's another story. So let's move on with a couple more questions.
Go for it.
There's one there for Lorenzo Racing 69. What's the best advice you can give my son who's racing in Bambino karts? Good question. I never did karting. I did motocross. So you did karting?
I did literally like a year and a half. I did hardly anything compared to most of the people.
Yeah.
I mean, my advice would be, you know, for me personally, I always thought that you do karting to get a bit of a grasp for it when you're young. And how to race people, and you learn about the flags, and it's just racing etiquette in general, really, and just how to do it.
Yeah.
And then when you can, and when you're at an age it's possible, you move into the next stage as fast as possible. You know, into cars. In my case, I was 13 when I did karts, so 14 straight into genetic juniors, and I think I didn't get dragged into the karting sort of whirlwind and mess that it can be if you stay in it for too long, I think. So my advice would be, if you are starting karting, especially really young, you know, do it for by all means. But then at the same time, you always want to progress as soon as you can.
Yeah, I think, you know, for me, I think at the end of the day, it's foremost, it has to be about enjoyment. I think everybody has to enjoy what they're doing. First and foremost, the driver. At that young age, I think also you've got to stick to your education. Not one that I can actually say that I stuck to, but I'm not going to promote that. So I think you know, those angles are definitely ones that you got to go for. But at the same time, just stick at it. I mean, as you know, this job is not the easiest of jobs to get under your belt, and you know, there's not a lot of opportunity. So what other opportunities may come along, you've got to make sure that you're ready for them. And I've always said as well, like, if you're fit enough and healthy enough in mind to be able to drive the next calibre car up, the next Formula, then you're always going to be looking to sort of elevate yourself and be in good stead.
Exactly.
Any other questions that are floating along at the moment? I think on this thing you can go up and down.
You can,
maybe, yeah, maybe not. Technology is not really my forte, but I'll leave that maybe to the youngsters. How is Jake filling his spare time? Any sim racing?
Any sim racing? Yeah, I've been doing a little bit of sim racing.
Have you been successful?
I have, actually. So there's a BTCC league, a GT3 league, and a Formula 1 league. They're all on Gran Turismo, so it's not like proper hardcore sim racing that you get in Race Room or iRacing or stuff like that. It's just on the PlayStation, but it's good fun every other night. And I won the Touring Car Championship and the GT3 one the other night. And it's time for me to fight for my first Formula 1 World Championship on Sunday night.
Good luck with that. We'll tune in. But listen, I'm as you well know, Jake, I'm not really that good on sims.
Sims and you don't click that well.
They don't. No, along with front wheel drive racing cars.
Although somehow, if I'm not mistaken, on the MB sim in the Honda Civic round Silverstone, you're magically 2.5 seconds quicker than me, and I can't figure out how. It's
very, very easy. That's called being the boss.
Is it? Yeah. I thought that was the case.
Yeah. It works. It works. Listen, a couple of other questions. Dream road car. If you had a choice, what would you have today? What would grab you?
I mean, if it's something that I've been working up for, and you know, if money was in the question, not wasn't, if money was in the question, I would probably go for an R34 Skyline. You know, I love my Skylines.
Yes.
So for me, the R34 is something that I've always wanted to have. But if money was no object, then I think it would probably have to be an F40 Ferrari. I recently drove one of my friends, Ollie. His father Mel owns one, luckily, and yeah, he's very kind to let me have a go in it up the road. And wow, what a bit of kit! You know, I don't think anything could prepare you for literally driving a full-blown racing car on the road. That's what it feels like to me, anyway. So, yeah, that would be the money no object car, I think.
Well, you're very lucky. I've never been in one, and they look fantastic. I have a friend who's got one as well. So they must be quite common, actually. We know somebody who's got one each.
They're just like any Ford Fiesta, aren't they?
Hold on now. Question for Mark. Are you going to do any historic race in the future? You were fantastic in the Escort at Goodwood. Oh, very kind words. Thank you very much.
We should try and do one together, Mark.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I mean, I did say I was retiring, but to be perfectly honest, probably should have underlined that I was retiring from modern day racing. Do I get around it that way?
Yeah.
I would like to go back to Goodwood. I have some fantastic friends who participate at Goodwood, and the Escort is a brilliant car, and yeah, I had a lot of fun doing it. Yeah, it would be good to do one together, Jay. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, obviously I love doing my historics and been quite successful in the last couple of years. So it'd be nice to maybe try and find a special driver we could do at Goodwood. I haven't done it yet, and I've been trying to get in there for ages. So it'd be nice.
Yeah, I think you're probably a bit young for Goodwood, but we'll see. Yeah, yeah. So what else have we got here? Would Mark drive the Speed 8 at Silverstone Classic or Goodwood? Oh, the Bentley. If I had the opportunity, yeah. No, definitely. If I had the opportunity, I would get back in that car just to go and relive a few memories. Probably the best sports car I've ever raced. Closely
Better than the Peugeot?
Well, closely matched by the Peugeot. Of course, the Peugeot, we had the success of winning, but the Bentley was just an unbelievable car. In terms of being near to perfection of a racing car, then I think the Bentley would have been right in that little pocket. But the only thing I'd be concerned about is actually I'm not too sure I would fit. Yeah.
Were they tight in there?
Yeah, very small. Yeah, not really good for a guy who's now in his mid-50s and slightly overweight.
Especially now you've given up modern day racing.
There you go. I've gone back to the diet, the race diet.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got a question from earlier, Jay.
Yeah.
It's one of those regular questions. But if you had to have a dinner party,
right,
who would your 4 guests be? Who would they be? Who would you invite to come to your dinner party?
What? Anyone? Or in the motorsport world?
No. It doesn't even have to be motorsport. It's just anyone in the world. Let's get a little bit of an understanding of Jake Hill, how he ticks. What floats your boat?
Do you know what? I've always wanted to meet Tom Hanks. He's one of my favourite actors.
Not at the moment, you wouldn't. He's got COVID, hasn't he?
Apart from at the moment,
right?
But yeah, I'd love to meet him, and I think it'd be fascinating to have to be at a dinner party sat next to him. That'd be pretty awesome.
Okay, Tom Hanks.
Yes, I think Tom Hanks. I think, bless him, if he was still around. I know he's passed away recently, but Nicky Lauda.
Yeah,
I would have loved to have sort of had a chat with him. Me and him shared the same birthday, so that was quite cool. But yeah, Nicky would have been one, and then who else? Well, Senna, really. I mean, it'd be amazing to see.
Yeah.
You know what he's like as a person, I guess.
Sure.
And then
I notice you haven't said Hannah, your girlfriend. That's a bit of a concern.
Oh,
I was sat here saying
she is here. She's in the room. There she is.
I'm saving your bacon, Jake. I'm saving your bacon.
I know. I don't know who else I would have. Really.
We've completed that. Hannah. Yeah,
Hannah.
She's at the table with you. Of course she is. Of course she is. So a few questions keep coming up about Indy 500. Actually, I've never raced in the Indianapolis 500.
I thought you did it at some point.
No. I have won a 500-mile race.
But not Indy.
Yeah, I did. I won the California 500 at the Fontana circuit.
Yeah.
Which was a 2-mile super speedway.
Yeah.
We were doing back then, we had like 900 horsepower, no traction control, pretty raw cars. 2 miles in 29.8 seconds, I think it was.
Ridiculous.
253 miles an hour top speed, 227 in the corner. 18 degrees of banking, and a huge amount of fun. So I did, I think, 6 500-mile races and had 5 top 6 results out of all of them. So being honest, I would have loved to have done Indianapolis. And the only reason we didn't is when I went to America, the series split. So it went one way to go to kart and the other way to the IRL. And unfortunately for me, I didn't get to go to Indianapolis because that was in the Indy Racing League series. So
yeah.
So to answer your questions, yes, done the 500 miles, but not at Indianapolis. Would love to have done. Aside from the racing side, we're loving the dynamic between you two, boss and driver, but clearly good mates. Ooh, I don't know. Are we mates? I might have to debate that, because after the first race in British Touring Cars, if we haven't delivered any results, we might not be friendly at all.
No, I think we'll be just fine. I think we'll be just fine. Oh, I wouldn't want to fall out with you, Mark.
I have great faith in you, Jake.
Yeah, we'll be absolutely fine. I can't wait to get going. It is going to be absolutely awesome. We've got everything we need around us, really. So, yeah, I'm not sweating. I think we'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah, I think we'll be okay. But we've got a few weeks to wait until we get on the grid, I think, at this stage. So a little bit more understanding. We had the biggest difference from the Audi to the Honda from Jake Dobson. So you will have to answer that. I've got no idea.
Yeah. I think it has to be, the biggest thing I was surprised about was the braking power that the Honda has. It's very unique. I don't know, I guess it's just the way the weight is in the car and the springs that work with that particular Honda. It's always had this unique Honda trait of, you know, when you hit the brakes, the front of the car just bang hits the floor, and you've got such control under your left foot. I left foot brake, so I've got such control under your left foot, and the car really anchors up faster than any other. So it was always a trait when Neil and Shedden had it as a factory car, and obviously as it's been passed down the generations and we've got it now, it still is, you know, probably the best part about that car. The chassis is, you know, better. There's no question whether it is or isn't. It is a better car than the Audi, but I think that's purely because of the development that Honda threw into it when it was in the factory's hands. You know, they threw a lot of money at it, more than most people did. So, just generally, it's a better developed car. But we still did well with the Audi. You know, I'm not dissing the Audi. It was still a good car that we had. Or, you know, that we transformed during last year, but the Honda is just more of a developed car.
I think you just touched on it then, but also that was one of the big differences between you and me, that you left foot brake and I don't.
Yeah. And
I'm kind of old school and conventional right foot braker, which again was quite troublesome trying to get the most out of a front wheel drive car. But if I can think of another excuse before the end of this, that would be great.
Yeah, just fire it in there.
Yeah, because so far I've got about 1.2 seconds that I've gained.
Yeah.
Yeah. I should never have retired, Jake.
No. Should just kept it going. So, yeah. No, it's good. It's a good bit of kit, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good car and it's well proven. So we'll see what we can do with it when we get that delivered on the grid, as we say. But Rich Hoyt, he asked us earlier, describe your new role within the team. So very easy on that one, Rich. Basically, I'm trying to be a conduit between the team and the drivers. And I mean that in the greatest respect, that trying to get the most out of the guys, Sam Osborne and Jake. And I don't mean that I'm going to tell them how to suck eggs and drive a racing car. They can do that very well, much better than me. So it's really about the application process, working within the team, getting everybody in the team to work for you, which is a big thing that a lot of racing drivers have to sort of develop and learn as they go through their careers. And I think also, you know, trying to make sure that they get the most out of what's available in terms of data. You know, we've got some great guys, great engineers, and also great technical partners, HB and Intel on their side of things, where we can sort of get a little bit more information than most of the time. So that's really the role, sporting director, and also liaising with the commercial partners, because Sean Hollenby, who's the team principal, team owner, is busy. Sometimes the drivers are also quite busy. Quite a condensed program during the day at British Touring Cars, so that will be a little bit of the insight to my role. Unless Jake's got any other things that you want to add. But
No, that's absolutely spot on. You know, I mean, just can't wait to sort of, you know, have you there for, you know, for what is the start of our journey as MB Motorsport, isn't it, really? And,
yeah.
you know, I think you were stuck abroad for Media Day because of the whole virus thing. You couldn't be there for some reason. So we never actually got to experience it at Media Day. But no, it's good. You know, like I say, that's missing sometimes in a lot of teams. Because, like I say, the boss, the team principal in this case is Sean, obviously, still running the car side and the team side. You know, he's a very busy man, and we're busy with my engineer Craig and mechanics and everything. And you know, sometimes, yeah, it's definitely needed someone else that's going to be, you know, taking on board the partners and doing a great job with them to make sure that us as a team can perform at our best.
We've got an interesting question that's come up, Jake.
Yeah.
Who's the grumpiest git in the team?
Who's the grumpiest git?
Yeah, is it Sean or Mark?
Oh, is that the only options?
Well, it's the only option you're going to get, put it that way.
Oh, God. Well, it depends what mood you're both in, I guess. I mean, you know, I've seen you when you're annoyed. I've seen you when you're happy. I've seen Sean when he's annoyed and when he's happy. So, I mean, I've not had the chance to turn you from being unhappy to happy again. So I don't know how quickly you change back. I know I can make Sean laugh very quickly, quite easily. So I don't know when you get in a strop how quickly I'll be able to help get you out of that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I hope we don't find that out, eh?
No, let's hope not.
All right.
Yeah.
Right. I've got a question actually. A question from Mrs. B.
Cool.
So Jake, how are you managing to keep fit during lockdown?
How am I managing to keep fit?
I think that question's been planted actually.
To be fair,
are our drivers keeping fit, ready for the first race?
Ready for the first season.
Yeah.
No, to be fair, me and Harry have been doing a lot of bike riding. You know, we get out for our once a day exercise. We do fairly long stint on the bike, which has been good fun, and sort of exploring some of the roads around us that normally we wouldn't go down, etc. So yeah, that's been good fun. We luckily have a fairly decent sized garden, so we can do all our HIIT workouts and stuff in the garden, and that's about it really. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I've not been, you know, massively on top of it, but we're still keeping fit, and that's the main thing. And then, you know, once we have a date, I'll have that to work to.
All right, I think we better have a phone call tomorrow, Jake. We'll sort that fitness out.
That's yeah. Thanks, Mrs. B.
Yeah. Spence Burks, Mark, can you tell us the history of your blue, red, and yellow race colours, please? Yeah, that's a good one. So basically, they are just my favourite colours. That was the basis of how I designed my racing helmet. It was, what colours do I like? What are my favourites? I tried to design it being a little bit commercial at the time, so I left some nice space around the helmet to put sponsors on. A lot of modern day racing drivers have got sort of helmets that are very intricate and not much space to put sponsor logos on, so not sure whether that's good or bad in this day and age. Well, I think that's an Amazon delivery. There's also the reason that I've got the initials on the top of the helmet. Do you know the story about that?
I know the story about it, yeah, but let's tell everyone else.
So, as a youngster growing up and coming through the sort of, you know, early stages of my career, I always used to look at those famous photographs of Monaco in the Grand Prix, and the overhead shot where you see the camera down on the top of the cockpit of a race car, and the guy at Lowe's hairpin with his, you know, full lock on and going around the hairpin. So it was always a dream to sort of have one of those photographs myself one day. And I thought to myself, if I ever get that photograph, it would be nice to sort of have something on the top of the helmet that I could be recognised by. Yeah, and the top of the helmet's not used very often, so I thought I might as well stick my initials there. So that's the story behind that. And I think I had that by 1985. So my second year of racing, I got that design, and it stuck with me ever since. And I did actually get a legal letter from Warner Brothers.
I was about to say that.
Yeah. They tried to tell me that when you reversed it in a mirror, so to speak, it looked like Warner Brothers. So they didn't really pick up on it any further than that. I told them that, no good suing me. I didn't have any money, so it was a pointless exercise. All right, Shayna Cheney. Jake, how did you feel standing on the podium after winning at Knock Hill? That's a great question.
That is a great question. I suppose more than anything, it was, well, obviously pure excitement and happiness, but it was actually relief more than anything. And it was to prove a point, because obviously I'd won my first race at Alton Park a couple of months earlier, and it obviously got taken away due to contact I had with Matt Neal. And, a lot of people thought, well, that was sort of his only chance of getting it that year. That's it, sort of thing. He'll do well, but he won't win a race again. And then, we managed to just get it right at Knock Hill. We managed to stick in the top 10 in both the first two races, and we pulled reverse grid, which obviously is a massive help. Sticks me on the front row. But yeah, it was still an unbelievable race, and we just got the car absolutely perfect for the race. And it was such a nice feeling to lead for the first time a complete touring car race the whole way through. I gave a real good go at throwing it off on the last lap. I didn't quite manage it, luckily, but it was an amazing feeling and just such relief to have done it again and win my second race, but obviously the one that actually counted.
You did a tremendous job, and I know the whole team were proud of you. I was very proud of you as well.
Yeah.
Because I knew it was coming, so it was great to see you.
Thanks, Mark.
Pull off your second win in effect, but technically your first one in terms of being legal would be the right word to say. But
yeah,
you fully deserved. On that note, there's a question about best night out ever.
Best night.
Have you got a best night out? Any memories?
Well, there's definitely a few with my friends at home. There's also been a few with some drivers and stuff that we have. The NEC Autosport show is always a promising occurrence. It seems to happen every year at some point. There's definitely been some good memories. I don't know how much detail I can go into, but it's been good fun.
I'd probably leave it there if I were you.
Yeah.
There's a question here, actually, that's interesting. Graham Herring, can you let everyone know the influence your father had on your career, Mark, and how he influenced and motivated, inspired you? Good question. Actually, my dad was never into motorsport. In fact, he didn't really have any understanding of it whatsoever. It was a friend of my dad's who actually got me involved and interested in the early stages. By profession, my dad was a panel beater and sprayer, and from that he bought his first car and did it up, and then sold it, and then bought another one, did it up and sold it, and from there went on to be quite a successful second-hand car dealer. There you go. I think also my good friend Martin Brundle's dad was also a car dealer as well, so a garage owner. So few little links there between us in this part of the world. But Dad was a huge influence. Looked up to him. Sadly, he passed away a few years ago now. But a huge part of my life, and I've seen that as well with you and your dad, Jake. Incredible relationship that you've got, and your dad is very supportive of you. And I think without having that support from your parents and your close family, it's always a little bit more difficult to try and achieve your dreams. And fortunately, I can see that you've got close-knit people with you.
Yeah, me and Dad, maybe one of the closest sort of son and dad, lad and dad, people in the touring car paddock that I can see at least. Dad's been there from the start, and he is, he's the reason I'm doing it today, really. I mean, yes, fine, I'm getting the results, I'm doing the driving bit quite well, but, Dad has been such a force in helping me get, sponsors and partners over the years, and it just wouldn't have been possible without him. And he loves being there. He is just passionate about motorsport. It's not just about me. He just loves racing. I remember when you first came to the team last year, he was absolutely chewing your ears off about your time in Formula One. And that's just because he just loves the sport, and he loves being around it. So to see his son, racing in the pinnacle of British motorsport now is pretty special. Especially as he didn't make it this far, and so he's sort of living his dreams a bit through me, I guess, as well. So yeah, it's nice. I'm glad we get to go racing together.
No, it's fantastic to see, and And I think actually your dad Simon knows more about my career than what I do. So
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, we've got to ask. First thing you're going to do after lockdown?
First thing I'm going to do, ring up Sean and say, when are we going testing? That's probably up there. The next thing would be I'm craving a Nando's. I would love a Nando's. I do like it in there.
All right, well, we're on the same page on that. The first thing I want to do is go and have a nice slap-up meal.
Yeah, I do want some nice food. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
And just, see your friends, because it's hard. I want to, especially when it's nice evenings that we have now, it's nice just to go out to the pub with your mates for a pint and get to see them whilst we can before the racing season kicks off. But obviously, that's not an option now. So it'd be nice just to see your mates before it goes mental. And obviously, we get back to racing.
Yeah. No, looking forward to it. So anyway, I think we've done half an hour, which I think is great.
Yeah.
I'd like to say thank you for being part and parcel of episode 1.
Thank you very much for having me, Mark.
And we're at that point now where we're actually very lucky that this evening is the launch of our MB Motorsport baseball caps, which is going live.
I need those quickly.
Yes, you definitely need one of those. So if you want to take a look, go across to the website, markblundellmotorsport.com.
Do I not get one for free?
We'll do your deal, Monjay.
Okay, thank you.
But no, listen, thank you very much. But before we sign off, let's also just remember 8 o'clock tonight.
Yeah.
Outside your front doors, and put your hands together for the front line, everybody, NHS, the care workers, and to say a wholehearted and sincere thanks for all of the hard work.
Absolutely.
Have a good one, Jake.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers, Mark.
Bye.